truck drivers hate Tesla. Over 70% have never wanted an electric truck. Yet Tesla just announced something that could force the entire trucking industry to abandon diesel forever. In this video, you'll discover why the Tesla Semi Gen 2 is about to revolutionize freight transportation with efficiency numbers that seem impossible, operating costs that destroy diesel, and features that even skeptical drivers can't ignore. By the end, you'll understand why this single vehicle could reshape America's $800 billion trucking industry. Welcome to Tesla Torch, where we break down the innovations that are changing our world. If you want to stay ahead of the electric revolution, hit that like button and subscribe for the latest Tesla insights. Picture this. You're a long-haul trucker who's spent decades behind the wheel of a diesel rig. The rumble of the engine, the familiar smell of exhaust, the network of truck stops stretching across America. This is your world. Now imagine someone telling you to throw all of that away for a silent electric truck with a giant touchscreen. That's exactly the resistance Tesla is facing. And it's not just about technology. It's about survival. For more than a century, diesel trucks have been the unshakable backbone of freight transportation. They've carried goods and food across continents, and their infrastructure runs deep. Fuel stations on every highway, maintenance networks in every city, and parts suppliers who know these engines inside and out. This isn't just business. It's a way of life that's been refined over generations. But here's where it gets interesting. Despite this massive resistance, Tesla just made an announcement that's sending shockwaves through the industry. The Tesla Semi Gen 2 is officially launching in October, with mass production starting the following year. They're planning to build 50,000 units annually at a base price of $170,000. And the specs? They're claiming a 500-mile range with the ability to charge to 80% in just 30 minutes. Now, you might be thinking, these are just typical Tesla promises, big claims that may or may not materialize. But here's where the story takes a dramatic turn. The efficiency numbers coming out of prototype testing are so good they almost seem like a mistake. The original Semi Gen 1 consumed less than 1.5 kilowatt hours per mile. That was already impressive. But the Gen 2? It's estimated at just 1.17 kilowatt hours per mile. That's a 30% improvement in efficiency. To put this in perspective, this isn't just an incremental upgrade. This is a complete reimagining of what's possible in heavy-duty transportation. Let's talk about what this means in real money, because at the end of the day, trucking is a business built on razor-thin margins. In the United States, electricity averages about 17.5 cents per kilowatt hour. That means the Semi Gen 2 costs roughly 20 cents per mile to operate. Compare that to diesel trucks, which average $3.75 per gallon and get about 6 miles per gallon. That works out to approximately 63 cents per mile. Think about that for a second. We're talking about operating costs that are less than 1/3 of what diesel trucks cost to run. For a truck that drives 100,000 miles per year, that's a difference of $43,000 annually. Over the lifetime of the truck, we're talking about savings that could exceed $400,000. But these aren't just numbers on paper. Major transportation companies have been quietly testing the Semi, and the results are validating Tesla's claims. ABF Freight, PepsiCo, DHL, and Walmart have all put these trucks through real-world conditions. They've driven them through challenging routes like the 7,200-meter climb through Donner Pass, and the Semi has matched or exceeded diesel truck performance every single time. The drivers testing these trucks are reporting something unexpected. They actually prefer driving the electric version. They're citing superior comfort, better safety features, and ease of use that they never experienced with diesel rigs. The centrally positioned driver's seat provides unprecedented visibility, the controls are intuitive, and the ride is smooth and quiet. Now, Tesla has made some significant design improvements for Gen 2 that address one of the biggest complaints from long-haul drivers. They're adding a sleeper cab, Hing drivers have been demanding since the original Semi was announced. Recent prototype sightings show enlarged side windows covering nearly 70% of the area behind the driver's seat and a new black module on top that clearly indicates a reconfigured resting area. But it's not just about creature comforts. Tesla has refined the truck's aerodynamics, particularly at the truck-to-trailer interface, achieving a drag coefficient far below conventional Class 8 trucks. They've shortened the cab roof by nearly 50% compared to earlier designs and lowered the overall height to balance practicality with efficiency. They're even preparing multiple configurations, high roof versions for better airflow over shipping containers and low roof options to reduce drag when hauling smaller loads. The technology driving these improvements is fascinating. The Semi-Gen 2 uses drive units derived from Tesla's Plaid platform, paired with silicon carbide inverters that dramatically reduce energy conversion losses. The battery pack has been completely redesigned with 4680 high-nickel cells, offering improved energy density and reduced weight per kilowatt-hour. They've scaled up their heat pump system to regulate both the battery and drivetrain under all weather conditions, ensuring peak efficiency regardless of climate. But here's where things get really interesting from a business strategy perspective. Tesla is keeping the exact pricing under wraps, and this isn't an accident. By maintaining secrecy around pricing, they're preventing competitors like Volvo, Nikola, Peterbilt, and Freightliner from adjusting their own pricing and production strategies. It's a chess game being played at the highest levels of corporate strategy. Tesla's existing supercharger network generates nearly $30 billion annually by allowing other EV manufacturers to use their charging system. This revenue stream helps offset the massive costs of expanding infrastructure, but scaling up to meet the demands of mass-produced electric trucks is a completely different challenge. Building mega charger stations for trucks isn't like installing car chargers. We're talking about installations that can cost up to $6 million per site and require extensive coordination with local governments and utility companies. The process is time-consuming and labor-intensive, often taking years to see complete. Companies like PepsiCo have invested heavily in developing this infrastructure, spending years to establish mega charger stations at key facilities. But it's a massive undertaking. Despite all these technological advances and economic advantages, the human element remains the biggest challenge. Many drivers are still deeply skeptical, and their concerns are legitimate. Cold weather performance is a particular worry. Batteries drain faster in extreme cold, and charging stations might be inaccessible during severe storms. For drivers who spend long hours on the road, far from major cities, the fear of being stranded without the familiar rumble of a diesel engine is very real. Then there's the automation question. Elon Musk has claimed that the Semi will eventually feature 100% full self-driving capability, potentially reducing driver fatigue and improving safety. But for drivers, this raises existential questions about job security and their future role in an increasingly automated industry. These aren't just technological concerns. They're about livelihoods and identities built around a profession that might fundamentally change. Yet the momentum is undeniable. The environmental impact alone is staggering. Over its lifetime, a single Semi-Gen 2 can save up to 1 million gallons of diesel fuel, which translates to around $3.5 million in operating costs. This reduction in fuel consumption directly translates to lower greenhouse gas emissions, supporting global efforts to combat climate change. We're not just talking about the United States market either. With rising demand for freight transportation worldwide and the urgent need to cut emissions, the Semi represents an economically sound and environmentally sustainable solution for the global industry. Tesla's potential expansion into markets like Europe could amplify this impact exponentially. But scaling production to meet this demand is Tesla's next major challenge. Their goal of producing 50,000 Semi-Gen 2 units annually is ambitious, especially considering the resource constraints and infrastructure challenges they face. However, Tesla's track record of innovation and their commitment to efficiency positions them well for long-term success. Here's what's really at stake. We're looking at the potential transformation of an entire industry. This isn't just about switching from diesel to electric. It's about reimagining how free jet moves across the globe. Logistics companies, drivers, manufacturers, and even governments must adapt to new realities, balancing decades of tradition with the promise of a more sustainable future. The question that's keeping industry executives awake at night is this: should the trucking industry double down on electric trucks like the Semi, or should diesel remain the backbone of freight transportation? Billions of dollars in existing diesel infrastructure hang in the balance, and the decision will shape transportation, jobs, and environmental policy for decades to come. What makes this moment particularly fascinating is that we're witnessing the collision of multiple forces: environmental pressure, economic necessity, technological capability, and human resistance to change. The Tesla Semi Gen 2 sits at the center of this collision, representing not just a new truck, but a completely different vision for the future of freight transportation. The numbers don't lie. The Semi Gen 2 offers superior efficiency, lower operating costs, and environmental benefits that are impossible to ignore. Major companies are already voting with their wallets, investing in charging infrastructure and placing orders. But the real test will be convincing the hundreds of thousands of drivers who make this industry run. As we stand at this crossroads, one thing is clear: the Tesla Semi Gen 2 isn't just another electric vehicle. It's a catalyst for change that could reshape one of America's most fundamental industries. Whether that change happens quickly or slowly, smoothly, or with significant resistance remains to be seen. But the transformation has already begun. The Tesla Semi Gen 2 represents more than just impressive technology. It's a glimpse into a future where freight transportation is cleaner, more efficient, and potentially more profitable. The question isn't whether electric trucks will eventually dominate the industry, but how quickly that transition will happen and who will lead it. What do you think? Are we witnessing the beginning of the end for diesel trucks, or will the trucking industry find ways to resist this electric revolution? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive valuable, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Tesla Torch for more insights into the innovations reshaping our world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.